Welcome to my study today. Let's have a look at those useful expressions sorry, excuse me, and I'm afraid. Different ways of saying sorry in English. There's a written exercise at the end of the video for you to practice. So, let's get started. We usually say sorry after we've done something wrong, don't we? Like this. I'm sorry, I forgot your birthday. You can say that in a slightly different way. Apologies, I forgot. Or, I apologise. But look very closely at those two words because it's an area where students make big mistakes. Apologies is spelt I-E-S at the end, and apologise is I-S-E. So be careful with those two. We can make our apology a little stronger by adding the word so. I'm so sorry I trod on your foot, and we would emphasise so. I'm so sorry. We can use the word sorry to express regret when we follow it with an infinitive and the preposition about. Like this. I was sorry to hear about your brother's accident. Now we can change that with another verb. I was sorry to learn about your brother's accident. I was sorry to read about your brother's accident. It gives you a nice choice of phrases to really improve your spoken English, and if you use that structure you would sound very good. Also for regret we can use a preposition and a gerund. I'm sorry for shouting at you yesterday. I think we probably would express this as I'm sorry I shouted at you yesterday, but the first structure is possible. And what about death? We don't like to think about death, do we? But there is a very apt phrase that we use in English. I'm sorry for your loss. It expresses sympathy. And a current phrase which I hear a lot in English these days, especially if it's your fault. Oops, my bad. Oops, my bad. It's very common in the media industry for people to say that. Sorry with a that clause is very useful because it allows you to express the reason to somebody else why you're feeling sorry. Sorry that you feel so angry. And if you want to express sympathy or pity for someone, I feel sorry for Peter. You would kind of say it with a down tone. I feel sorry for Peter. And when you don't hear what somebody has said, you can ask for a repetition using sorry. Sorry, I didn't hear that. Or just simply, sorry, could you repeat that? We can use the phrase excuse me before the event has happened. Excuse me, would you mind taking my photo? I wonder how many tourists in Pisa ask that question. But actually, we do contract that a little more. Excuse me, would you mind taking my photo? And here's a very common situation. Excuse me, is there anybody sitting here? And you notice how I raise the intonation of my voice to ask this question. Excuse me, is anybody sitting here? Let me just point out in American English the phrases are used slightly differently. Excuse me and pardon me means sorry. But we can be very formal in English sometimes, and we use this phrase, I beg your pardon. I beg your pardon. I didn't realise this was your chair, the man says to the cat. I beg your pardon. I didn't hear that. So it's a good way also of formally asking for a repetition. And the Americans again would use, pardon me? But I beg your pardon can be used to express your annoyance. I beg your pardon, it's rude to behave like that in the office. But you do really sound angry when you say it. I beg your pardon, because you are annoyed. And when we want to be generally polite, we can use the expression, I'm afraid. I can't help, I'm afraid I'm rather busy right now. And it's very useful to introduce a sentence with I'm afraid if you want to decline to do something. Or I'm afraid I can't do that. Or I'm afraid I'm just too busy. And we can use I'm afraid to agree with something which is perhaps less pleasant. Another increase? I'm afraid so. I hope you'll make an effort to use those phrases in your spoken English. And if you found my lesson useful, could I ask you to subscribe below and ring that bell? Thanks. Now here are some written exercises to help you practice. Exercise 1. What would you say in these situations? And here are the answers. Next time we'll have a look at have and have got. So, thanks for watching. Please subscribe below, and I'll see you next time. Bye!